Here we go with the arms. Alright, so we did the entirety of the body, minus a couple little detailing things in the last part. Now we're going to add the arms. This might be best if you use some toothpicks because, again, I don't use an armature or anything, but toothpicks work nicely, not only in kind of connecting the limbs, but in, having, you know, having a kind of area to work around for the arms. So what I'm going to do, and obviously we're going to kind of need to roughly measure this. Spike, I feel like, has some kind of bulky arms, so, and he kind of has pointy shoulders too. So I'm kind of going to do something like this. So once I kind of decide on where I'm going to put his arms and stuff, I think that's a pretty good spot right there. I guess I was kind of doing that simultaneously as I was. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm putting blue clay on the toothpick, which is going to help us with the arm. So at this point, or rather, actually, probably not at this point. I guess we'll save that for later. Alright, so once the arm is a reasonable size, again, Spike has kind of large arms, so I'm going to go with something like that. He has a little cuff along the bottom of his shirt sleeve. So I'm just going to make a circle, poke it through the toothpick, and then essentially just kind of push up. And you can kind of make that even, but that essentially creates kind of the cuff of his sleeve. Right like that. Again, making sure it's a good size. That's a pretty good size. Now take some peach clay and make the rest of the arm. And to kind of keep these slightly shorter, I don't know, again, if it's just me, but maybe some of you guys too don't feel the need to see an arm or something done twice, especially if I, explain it and show it really well the first time. So, especially since the Fox one was kind of so long, and I feel like we're not going to be much more parts here, so there's kind of no need to extend, beyond where it needs to be extended. I might only do one arm on camera and then show the assembly, and then essentially just say do that again to the other side, just to kind of save some time. So we got this part, and now we're going to do the hand, which I always use my kind of trick to do the hand, trying to figure out. Alright, so the thumb should be on that other side. So what we're pretty much going to do here, I need to grip my toothpick, is we got a circle, and we're going to cut right there. And if you guys can tell, because I've been doing this for all my tutorials, or if this is the first one you're watching, that creates a thumb and the rest of the hand. So then 1, 2, 3 more cuts, and that's pretty much your fingers. So this is going to require a bit of kind of sculpting skills because you got to make the fingers correct and kind of the hand size correct and stuff. And this might end up being a little flat, the hand, but considering I'm going to kind of, well, I don't know, I'm sure I can figure out something kind of clever to do with it. And you can always just add more clay if you think it is a little too, thin. But I think for our purpose, that's a pretty good size hand and stuff. Maybe make it a little bit better. Once again, you can add some clay and stuff and sculpt it, or spend as long sculpting it and making it look good as you want. But for me, considering I'm on a bit of a time limit, I'm simply going to, I guess, fix the index finger a little bit. There we go. Alright, so we got our hand, and I'm going to put it on the arm. I'm just going to use kind of push down from the palm, just like that, and it kind of stays in. You can do the same thing to the other side, so that, doesn't get too, so that you don't see a seam. And I think this actually isn't too bad of a size, or if you do think it's a little too big, then simply all you have to do is kind of just shrink everything down, and you can simply do that by pushing the clay down, like each finger, down a little bit, which actually might be helpful in the long run if you think your hand is a little too flat. Then you can kind of push stuff down, and it makes everything smaller, and then we kind of killed two birds with one stone. So, just slightly being nitpicky, I think maybe we used a little too much peach, either that or just the body isn't long enough, so I'm just going to take a little bit off. Kind of re-put that in there, put this in here, make sure it's all connected, like such. That is essentially our hand. So now, you can, again, kind of give you guys the option to do whatever you want to do with the pose. I think I'll just kind of make him standing, I guess. So at this point, it's really debatable. You can either put kind of a toothpick in, kind of this way into his arm, or if you think he's kind of sturdy enough, you don't have to. I really don't think he's gonna it's gonna pose much of a problem. So I'm kind of gonna just leave it like that. I think that should probably be fine. The legs is another matter, but for the arms, as long as you push it in good enough, I don't really think you need a toothpick, because it's not really his arm is kind of just there. It's not really it's not like supporting anything. The arm is kind of self-supporting. So I'm just gonna square the shoulder off and do that, and that was pretty much a spike arm. So I guess not to kind of sound jerkish, but if you needed to see that again, then you can kind of drag the video back to see how I made this arm, because once again, I'm going to make the second arm off of camera the same exact way. It's just going to be flipped because this was his right, and now I'm going to do his left. But yeah, that is his arm. I think I'll save the limbs or the legs rather, for the next part, because then I can start doing the detailing on some of the other things and get some finalized stuff in there. So, alright, cool. Next part is the legs.